Hey everyone, Casey here. Making videos is one thing, but getting people to actually click and watch, that's a whole other game, and that's where thumbnails come in. They're like the first impression, the handshake before the conversation. A killer thumbnail can be the difference between a viral hit and a video that fades into obscurity. Today we're diving into the 8 common mistakes you might be making with your video thumbnails. We're talking about those little errors in judgment that could be costing you views, subscribers, and ultimately, that connection you're trying to build with your audience. Trust me, I've been there, made those mistakes, and learned from them the hard way. So grab your notebooks because we're about to break down each mistake, explore why it's hurting your channel's growth, and most importantly, how to fix it. Let's do this. Alright, let's talk about misleading images. We all love a good surprise, right? But not when it comes to thumbnails. Imagine clicking on a thumbnail that promises an epic drone shot of the Grand Canyon, only to find a shaky iPhone video of your buddy's backyard. That's a bait and switch, and trust me, viewers hate it. Using misleading images might get you a few extra clicks in the short term, but it's a recipe for disaster in the long run. Think about it. Clicking on a video only to be met with something completely different feels like a betrayal. It erodes trust, and once that trust is gone, it's incredibly hard to earn back. Your viewers are smart. They can spot a fake from a mile away, and if you consistently mislead them with your thumbnails, they'll simply stop clicking. And worse, they might even unsubscribe. It's like that saying, honesty is the best policy, and that definitely applies to your thumbnails. Instead of resorting to clickbait tactics, focus on accurately representing the content of your video in a visually appealing way. Show a genuine moment from your video, highlight the key takeaway, or create an intriguing visual metaphor. The key is to pique their interest without resorting to deception. Remember, you're building a community, and a strong community is built on trust. So ditch the clickbait and focus on creating thumbnails that are both enticing and honest. Your viewers will thank you for it. Let's be real. Nobody wants to click on a thumbnail that looks like it was taken with a potato. Image quality matters, people. It's a reflection of your brand, your attention to detail, and ultimately the quality of your content. Think about it. When you're scrolling through your feed, what kind of thumbnails catch your eye? Sharp, vibrant images that pop, right? Now imagine seeing a blurry, pixelated mess next to those eye-catching thumbnails. Not exactly inspiring, is it? Poor image quality screams amateur hour even if you've got the most incredible content in the world. It makes your videos look unprofessional, and gives the impression that you don't really care about the viewer's experience. And in the crowded world of online video, first impressions are everything. So how do you avoid this thumbnail sin? Start with high-resolution images and graphics. Pay attention to lighting, composition, and make sure your text is clear and legible. If you're using screenshots from your video, choose frames that are well lit and visually appealing. Remember, your thumbnail is like the storefront of your video. Make it inviting, make it professional, and make it something that people actually want to click on. We're visual creatures, my friends, and when it comes to thumbnails, color is your secret weapon. In a sea of endless scrolling, vibrant colors are like a beacon, drawing the eye and demanding attention. Think about your favorite brands. They all use color strategically to evoke emotions and create a memorable identity. Now look at your thumbnails. Are they blending into the background, or are they demanding attention? If your thumbnails are looking a little dull, it's time to inject some life into them with a strategic dose of color. Think about the mood you want to convey. Bright, bold colors like reds and oranges convey excitement and energy, while cooler tones like blues and greens suggest calmness and sophistication. Experiment with different color combinations, but always keep your brand identity in mind. Don't be afraid to go bold, but avoid going overboard. Too many colors can create a chaotic mess that's hard on the eyes. Stick with 2 or 3 main colors and use them consistently throughout your thumbnail. Remember, your thumbnail is competing for attention with millions of other videos. Make yours impossible to ignore by harnessing the power of color. We've all been there. You're so excited about your video that you want to cram every single detail into the thumbnail. But here's the thing. A cluttered thumbnail is a confusing thumbnail, and a confused viewer is a viewer who's likely to keep on scrolling. Think of your thumbnail as a billboard, not a flyer. You wouldn't try to fit an entire novel on a billboard, would you? The same principle applies to thumbnails. Keep it simple, keep it focused, and let your main message shine through. Too much text, too many images, and too many competing elements create visual noise that overwhelms the viewer. They don't know where to look, what to focus on, and ultimately they're left feeling confused and disengaged. So, how do you avoid overwhelming your audience? Prioritize your message. What's the one key takeaway you want viewers to grasp from your thumbnail? Once you know your message, build your design around it, using minimal text, strong visuals, and plenty of negative space. Remember, white space is your friend. It gives your design room to breathe, makes it easier on the eyes, and allows your key elements to really stand out. Imagine walking into a store where everything is a different color. The layout changes every week, and the logo is never the same twice. Confusing, right? That's what it's like for viewers when your thumbnails lack brand consistency. Your brand is more than just a logo. It's the overall feeling and experience you create for your audience. It's about establishing a recognizable visual identity that sets you apart from the competition and makes your content instantly identifiable. Inconsistent branding creates a disconnect. Viewers might not even realize that your videos are part of the same channel, and that can hurt your watch time, subscriber growth, and overall brand recognition. So, how do you create brand consistency across your thumbnails? Start with a style guide. Choose a color palette, fonts, logo placement, and an overall aesthetic that aligns with your brand identity. Then, use these elements consistently across all your thumbnails. Think of it like this. Each thumbnail is a mini representation of your brand. Make sure they all work together to create a cohesive and memorable brand experience for your viewers. Let's face it, we live in a mobile-first world. People are consuming content on their phones, tablets, and laptops more than ever before. And if your thumbnails aren't optimized for these smaller screens, you're missing out on a huge chunk of your potential audience. Ignoring mobile users is like throwing a party and forgetting to send out half the invitations. You're limiting your reach, potentially alienating viewers, and missing out on valuable engagement. Think about it. A thumbnail that looks great on a desktop monitor might be completely illegible on a smartphone. Text might be cut off, images might be distorted, and the overall impact of your design is lost. So how do you optimize your thumbnails for mobile? First and foremost, design for small screens. Keep your text large and legible, avoid cramming too much detail into a small space, and use bold, eye-catching visuals that translate well on smaller displays. Remember, the majority of your viewers are probably watching on mobile devices. Make sure your thumbnails are just as impactful on a small screen as they are on a large one. We've all been tempted by the allure of clickbait, a sensational image, a shocking headline, anything to get those clicks, right? But here's the thing, clickbait might get you views in the short term, but it's a surefire way to erode trust and damage your channel's reputation in the long run. Think about it. If your thumbnail promises something that your video doesn't deliver, you're essentially deceiving your audience. And once that trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to earn it back. Viewers might click on your video because of a misleading thumbnail, but they'll quickly realize they've been tricked and bounce. That means higher bounce rates, lower watch times, and ultimately, a negative impact on your channel's overall performance. So, how do you create thumbnails that are both enticing and honest? Focus on accurately representing the content of your video. Choose images that reflect the key themes, topics, or moments from your video, and use text that complements, not contradicts, your visuals. Remember, your thumbnail is a promise to your viewers. Make sure you're delivering on that promise by creating thumbnails that are both captivating and truthful. Templates can be a great starting point, especially when you're short on time or design resources. But using the same template for every single thumbnail, that's a one-way ticket to snoozeville. Think about it. Scrolling through your channel should be a visually engaging experience. Seeing the same template over and over again is like listening to the same song on repeat. It gets old fast. Repetitive templates make your channel look bland, uninspired, and frankly, a little lazy. It's like you're putting in minimal effort, and that lack of effort translates to the viewer's experience. So how do you break free from the template rut? Experiment with different layouts, fonts, color schemes, and visual styles. Don't be afraid to think outside the box and try something new. Remember, each video is unique, and your thumbnail should reflect that. Embrace variety, get creative, and most importantly, have fun with it. So there you have it, 8 common thumbnail mistakes and how to fix them. Remember, your thumbnails are your first impression, your chance to grab attention and convince viewers that your video is worth their time. By avoiding these common pitfalls and implementing the tips we've discussed, you'll be well on your way to creating thumbnails that are not only visually appealing, but also effective in driving clicks, views, and engagement. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips.